The galaxy learned about humanity's death through a broadcast. It arrived without warning, interrupting trade channels, religious transmissions, and military relays across thousands of systems. The signal carried no encryption and no artistic flourish, only cold data and a single declaration translated instantly by universal lexicons. 10 million humans are dead. The species that sent it called themselves the Varelian Concord. They were ancient, methodical, and proud of their reputation as observers rather than conquerors. For centuries they had catalogued younger civilizations, measured growth curves, and quietly nudged outcomes when it suited galactic stability. Humanity had been classified as volatile but promising. The incident that triggered the broadcast occurred in the Hesperreach. A Varelian research flotilla had entered a disputed human colony system under the assumption that humans would retreat. Instead, civilian traffic remained, orbital habitats stayed powered, and diplomatic warnings were ignored. The Varelians responded with what they considered a restrained corrective strike. Orbital infrastructure collapsed within minutes. Cities lost atmosphere, transports shattered, and 10 million human lives ended before any meaningful response could form. The Concord saw it as a lesson delivered, not a crime committed. They believed fear would bring compliance, so they broadcast the results. They listed casualty figures, energy yields, and time to extinction projections if escalation continued. They framed the message as a public service announcement, a warning to all emerging species about the cost of defiance. They did not expect silence in response. Earth received the broadcast 12 minutes later. It played in command centers, research labs, civilian networks, and private homes. No screams accompanied the images, no dramatic music followed the data, just numbers, timelines, and a calm alien voice explaining that humanity had been corrected. For 6 seconds, the planet said nothing. For 6 seconds, no government spoke. No fleet mobilized. No public statement emerged. Then Earth began doing something the Varelians had never seen before. Humanity started closing doors. Deep space. The arrays went dark. Civilian traffic halted. Colonial networks fell silent. And the galaxy mistook that silence for grief. They were wrong. The Varelians waited for outrage. They expected fragmented retaliation, emotional speeches, perhaps a doomed counterattack. Younger species always responded the same way when taught their limits. Humans did not. Earth issued no broadcast in reply, no condemnation, no plea, no threat. Instead, diplomatic missions were recalled across known space. Humanity's borders did not expand or contract. They hardened. Inside Earth's command structures, a different kind of conversation unfolded. There were no arguments about surrender or revenge. There were only confirmations. 10 million dead confirmed. Colony status unrecoverable confirmed. Varelian responsibility absolute confirmed. Human military doctrine had a classification reserved for specific events. It was not used for wars, terrorist attacks, or planetary disasters. It was used for extinction signals. The broadcast triggered it instantly, across Earth and its hidden installations, systems, labeled obsolete, activated for the first time. Weapons designed not for deterrence but for erasure came online. Archives once considered theoretical were unlocked. Artificial intelligences long isolated were awakened. One of them asked a single question. Has the threshold been crossed? The answer was yes. Humanity had learned early in its history that survival was not guaranteed by morality. They had watched species vanish on their own planet long before they reached the stars. Extinction was not abstract to them. It was a memory encoded in fossils and ruins. And anyone willing to broadcast mass death was declaring a future intent. The Varelians did not know this. They interpreted the lack of response as submission. Their analysts updated probability charts and concluded the experiment was successful. They prepared reports praising the efficiency of limited annihilation. What they did not detect was the change in background noise across space. Human signals vanished not from fear but from focus. When humanity prepared for war, it stopped talking, and when it stopped talking, it started counting. The first Varelian system vanished without explosion or warning. Its star did not go supernova. Its planets did not shatter. They simply stopped existing in any measurable way. Sensors reported absence where mass had been. The Concord assumed instrument failure. Redundant scans confirmed the result. The system had been unmade with surgical precision, leaving no debris field and no energy signature that matched known weapons. Panic was not immediate. Confusion came first. Then a second system disappeared. Then a third, each one a core research or a command hub. each one erased faster than light could carry a distress call. The Varelians attempted to re-establish contact with Earth. Their messages went unanswered. They tried broadcasting apologies, then explanations, then demands. Silence remained. Humanity was not attacking randomly. Every vanished system corresponded to a decision node. Every erased world removed a capability, a memory archive, or a leadership council. This was not rage. It was pruning. At last, a human signal appeared. It was directed not at the public networks, but at the Concorde's deepest military channel. It contained a single sentence. You broadcasted extinction. Now observe it. The Varelians attempted to mobilize fleets. Their ships could not jump. Space-time itself resisted them, folded wrong, refused translation. Human technology had rewritten the local rules. For the first time in their recorded history, the Concorde felt fear, not because they were losing territory, but because they were losing understanding. They no longer knew what humanity was capable of. Humanity did not hate the Varelians. Hate required intimacy. This was accounting. 10 million dead required a response proportional not in emotion but in certainty. The goal was not punishment. The goal was prevention. Human models predicted that if the Varelian Concorde survived, it would repeat its behavior within 3 centuries. That probability was unacceptable. So the models updated the solution space. And extinction emerged as the stable outcome. One by one, Varelian systems were removed from causality. Their species never saw a final battle. They never heard a rallying cry. They simply ceased to be veritable. Other galactic civilizations watched in horror and awe. They had believed humans emotional and reckless. Now they saw patience, planning, and restraint sharpened to a lethal edge. Earth did not threaten anyone else. It did not need to. When it was over, humanity returned to the stars. They reopened trade, resumed diplomacy, and rebuilt colonies. They did not celebrate. They memorialized. 10 million names were engraved into archives on Earth and beyond. Every child learned why the Varelians no longer existed. Not as a boast, but as a warning. Never broadcast death unless you are prepared to become history. The galaxy adjusted its behavior accordingly. No species ever again announced the killing of humans as a message. And Earth, quiet once more, watched the stars with the patience of something that had survived its own ending.